Welcome to the Dream Stream, a living dream journal, where dreams aren't just something we analyze, they're something we enter. I'm your host, dream journalist DJ Dreamy, and in this episode, something begins to shift, not just in the dreams themselves, but in how they're experienced. Because there's a subtle movement that starts to happen from thinking about the dream to stepping inside it. From concept to embodiment. From asking, what does this mean? To something quieter and maybe more powerful. What does this feel like when it's real? And as these dreams unfold, you might notice they're not just telling a story. They're inviting a different way of being inside the story. Let's step into the first one. I wake up in a bed. It feels familiar, like a house from my past, Cape Cod. There's someone beside me, a friend from high school. We're sharing the space, like a sleepover, quiet, close. I can feel that he's going through something, emotionally. So I reach over, and I hold his hand. Not saying anything, just being there with him. Then something shifts. I get up out of the bed, and as soon as my feet hit the floor, I'm disoriented. I don't quite know which room I'm in. The house feels familiar, but not fully placed. I step into the hallway, and there's my dad. He looks at me and says, "Hey, can you help me out?" I glance back into the room. There are decorations on the bed, Christmas decorations, and I feel it. That nostalgic pull, that sense of, this is how things have always been. This is what we do. This is the world I've known. And for a moment, I consider staying in it. And then something inside me becomes clear, quiet, certain. It's time to move on. I walk past the room, past the decorations, past the old feeling, and I head outside. I step onto the back deck. The air is still. The yard stretches out in front of me, and I feel something rising in my chest. Not a thought, a knowing. So I lift my voice, and I call out into the sky, "New heavens, new earth." Again, stronger now. New heavens, new earth. And as I turn back around, everything is different. The trees, they've changed. They're no longer the same pine trees I remember. Now they're fuller, softer. Their leaves thick and alive. They're closer together, like the whole forest has leaned in. I look at them, really look at them, and I say, I see you. You've changed. I feel this pull to move, to rise. So I bend to my knees, and I jump. For a moment, I expect to fly. But gravity is still there. Not heavy, but present, holding me. So instead of flying, I surrender to it, and I leap into the trees. My hands catch the branches. My feet find their place, and I begin to climb. Slowly, deliberately. As I move upward, I notice something. There's sap, green sap, running down the branches. Alive, flowing, and I acknowledge it, almost like I'm in conversation with the world. Then I look beyond the trees, and what I see opens everything. There's a water wheel, turning beside a grist mill. Water flowing, clear, clean, alive. Streams and rivers winding through the land, fresh, unspoiled. And I feel it, this excitement rising in me, this recognition. I say it out loud. The water, it's clean. It's flowing. And there's more. Little channels, like water slides. Something children could play in. Joy built into the land itself. And I stand there, in this world, not imagining it, not thinking about it. I'm in it. And the realization lands, quiet but undeniable. This isn't something I'm waiting for. This is something I've stepped into. And the world is responding. And that's where the dream fades. And there's something about that moment that doesn't feel imagined. It feels entered. Not a vision of a new world, but contact with one. And once that threshold is crossed, the question becomes, if the world can change like that, how do you move through it? Let's follow that movement. I'm riding up the road in a truck. At first, everything feels normal, steady, but then the road turns to dirt. There's construction, so I slow down a bit. It's rougher now, uneven. I don't want to lose control. Don't want to slide off the road. There's one section where the road almost disappears entirely, like it's dissolving into a ditch or maybe a future driveway that hasn't been built yet. So I veer off slightly, right up onto the bank, and then guide myself back down, safely onto the road again. Now let me ask you, do you think I fall off the road next, or transfer to a bicycle? Suddenly, I'm no longer in the truck. Now it's like I'm on a bicycle, but not a normal one. It has a motorized component to it, and I'm working my way up this hill. Eventually, the road smooths out again, back to asphalt, and I pass by Mystic Lake, the place where I grew up. I glance out over the water, and I notice something. There's sand out in the lake, and I wonder, are they redoing the beach? I look back behind me, and I can see where the construction ended. It does seem like it includes the section near the beach. As I go a little further, I come to a stretch of road right next to the water. There's sand there too, so I pull off to the side. Now let me ask you, do you think I encounter a miniature version of Earth, or just go for a swim? I look into the water, and what I see isn't just water. It's like I'm looking at a miniature version of Earth itself, a continent, right there. Near the edge, the sand stretches out about a foot, and then it drops, like a coastline falling into a continental shelf. And beyond that, it goes deep, much deeper than it should. Now let me ask you, do I learn the secrets of the deep, or visit a hotel first? Just up the road, there's a hotel. It overlooks the lake. I go inside. It feels like I'm staying there, like I've just woken up there. And in the lobby, there's something incredible. There's a pool, and inside the pool are the continents. But they're not maps. They're like giant lily pads, floating, formed, alive. So I step out onto one. It feels sandy beneath my feet. Green across the land, white along the coastlines. I jump onto Africa. It's about the length of my body if I were lying down. Then I jump to Australia. And something about it just fills me with excitement. I can traverse the world just like that, touching each landmass. So I decide I'm going to try to touch them all. Now let me ask you, do I stop for a bite to eat, or jump from the Earth to the moon next? I glance over to the side. There's food, hotel treats, snacks laid out. But I notice something. They all have price tags, and I realize if I take one, I'll be billed later. So I decide not to. There are other items too, gifts maybe, but they all carry that same energy. Take now, pay later. And then I see my mom. She's in a kitchenette area. She's looking around, noticing they didn't get eggs recently, trying to figure out what's needed, how to get them. And I think to myself, maybe I could help with that. Maybe I could get eggs next time I'm out. Now let me ask you, do I get spiritual about heaven and earth? Have eggs with my mom? Or sneak some hotel food? A woman approaches me in the lobby. Or maybe she's been there the whole time. She says she noticed me, jumping across the continent lily pads. She wants to know more. So I tell her. I say, last night, I had a spiritual experience. I was speaking about new heavens and new earth. And then I gesture out toward the lake. As I was riding up the road, I saw the construction happening out there. That's Mystic Lake. I pointed out, like she might not know, like she might be a visitor here. And then I noticed something strange. One of the continents, the one I started on, is gone. It's dissolved. Now let me ask you, do I explain how heaven works? Or allude to something deeper, something more embodied? Another woman is there now, or maybe it's the same one shifting. She starts explaining something to me, talking a lot. It feels like she comes from a different paradigm, maybe a religious one. She's speaking about bringing things into existence through words, through declaration, through proclamation. And I can feel it. The way of being. It's familiar, but it's not mine anymore. Because what I'm doing is different. I'm not just speaking it. I'm stepping into it. I'm touching it, walking it, feeling it under my feet. This isn't about saying, New Earth. This is about being there. And she keeps talking and talking and talking until finally she pauses, looks at me, and says, "You're going to be so good at this." And that's where the dream fades. And now something shifts again, because it's no longer about calling something into existence. It's about stepping onto it, touching it, walking it. Not describing the world, but interacting with it. And when that happens, another layer opens. If you can touch the world this way, what happens when you remove one of your primary ways of perceiving it? Let's explore that. I'm at the Pearl. We're gathered together inside the living room. There's a stillness to it, a shared focus. We're meditating, a small group of us, sitting quietly, like we're tuning into something together. But at the same time, something else is happening. There's a path outside, a wooded path that runs behind the house. And someone has been asked to walk it, but not normally. They're blind, or at least they're choosing not to see, covering their eyes. And I'm already out there, standing just off the path, partially hidden in the brush. Still, quiet, watching. I have my phone in my hand. I'm recording. Not in an obvious way, more like I'm observing an experiment. Because on the surface, that's what this is. We told him, walk the path without your sight. But underneath that, there's something deeper happening. It feels like we're testing something, exploring a different way of knowing. And I can sense it. There are others watching too. Not physically present in the same way, but nearby. Almost like scientists, observers, watching how this unfolds. Now let me ask you, do I step out and guide him? Or stay hidden and let him find his way? I stay where I am, still in the brush. He begins walking down the path, slowly, carefully. Each step, intentional. There's a slight uncertainty in his movement, but also a kind of trust. And as I watch him, I start thinking about my own practice. How sometimes I close my eyes on purpose, to feel balance differently, to lift one foot off the ground and see if I can stay steady without relying on sight, to sense instead of see. Now let me ask you, do I call out instructions or let him discover it for himself? I don't say anything. I let the moment unfold. He continues down the path, feeling his way forward. And there's something beautiful about it, because he's not lost. He's navigating, just differently. Eventually, he reaches the area near where I am. I keep recording a little longer. Then I turn the camera off. The experiment feels complete. Now let me ask you, do I reveal myself or quietly guide him back to the path? I step in just enough, not to interrupt the experience, but to support it. I make sure he's aligned with the path ahead, that he's not drifting too far off course, just a subtle correction, and then I let him continue. And what stays with me is this. We told him to walk without sight, but what he was really doing was learning to trust something else. And maybe, so was I. And that's where the dream settles. There's a quiet realization in that dream that sight was never the only way of knowing, and maybe not even the primary one. Because when you take vision away, something else steps forward, something more subtle, more internal. And as that sensitivity develops, you begin to notice something else entirely. The systems you're moving through, the structures that shape behavior, the environments that quietly define the rules. Let's step into one of those. I'm in a high school, but not as a student. I'm working there, human resources, and I'm following a student down the hallway. I hear his name, Robert. So I track him a bit, just observing. But the way I'm moving isn't normal. I'm floating, gliding down the hallway, just above the ground. There is no effort to it, no resistance, just movement. Now let me ask you, do I stay hidden as an observer or step into the classroom and be seen? I arrive at a classroom. It's open to the hallway, no real wall separating it. Students are entering through one door, looping past the teacher, receiving instructions, and moving into the room. It feels like a system, efficient, structured, almost mechanical. So I settle in, quietly observing. The teacher is strong in her presence, commanding, direct. There's something almost military about her tone, and I can feel it. This dynamic. She leads, they follow. Students moving through like a process. Then she notices me, and I realize that changes everything. Because I'm HR, and now my presence means something. Now let me ask you, do I explain why I'm there, or leave before anything becomes official? I feel that moment building, where she might say something like, why is HR in my classroom? And before that moment fully forms, I jump straight up, and I shift into a flying pose, arms positioned, body aligned, and I jet off. As I pass by the students, I give a small wave. A couple of them notice. They think it's cool, and I keep moving, floating down the hallway again. Now let me ask you, do I keep flying through the system or land and explore another layer? I come to another classroom. This one feels completely different. Younger students, kindergarten age. The teacher herself looks young, almost like a student. Petite, gentle. The kids are singing together. And I start to notice something about the words. They're not all English. I hear one phrase, kavam, and I think, is that Russian? Then another, bedoy. Is that Vietnamese? There are sheets of paper around, almost like flower clusters, each with different words on them. And I realize, this might be a classroom where languages are being introduced, or where students from different countries are being integrated. There's diversity here, fluidity, exploration. Very different from the first room. Now let me ask you, do I stay and learn with them, or keep moving through the system? I drift onward, down the hallway again, floating, and I come to a stairwell. I look down, and I consider something. Jumping over the entire stairwell, floating down and landing on the level below. But then I notice there are decorations hanging, streamers, barriers. It feels like this path isn't meant to be taken. There's even cleaning equipment moving down there, almost automated. like a system operating on its own. Now let me ask you, do I take the leap anyway? Or pause and reassess? I hesitate. And then, a voice. A teacher at the top of the stairs. She looks at me and says, "Do you want some coffee?" Just like that, everything shifts. I smile. I'd love some. I walk over. There's a small coffee station set up, but the cups aren't normal. They're made of cookie, edible, filled with frosting, flavor, texture. You take the coffee and pour it into the cookie cup. And suddenly, it's not just coffee. It's an experience. There are others there too, preparing theirs, talking, enjoying it. Even a caterer is bringing more varieties over, adding to the mix. And I find myself saying, wow, look at all these options. And for a moment, I'm not analyzing the system. I'm just in it, participating, tasting it. And that's where the dream fades. And here, you can feel it. The difference between observing a system and being inside one. Between floating above it and participating within it. And just as that awareness sharpens, it opens outward. Because these weren't the only dreams moving through. There's a wider field here, a broader current. So for a moment, we zoom out. We've just moved through a series of dreams that ask something subtle but powerful. Not just, what does this mean? But, what does it feel like to be inside it? From stepping into a new world, to walking across continents, to sensing without sight, to observing the systems we move through. There's been a shift from concept to embodiment. But these weren't the only dreams moving through the field. And sometimes it's worth zooming out, just for a moment, to feel the wider current. Because in between the deeper anchored dreams, there are others. Shorter, sharper, almost like fragments of a larger intelligence moving through the night. So for a moment, let's step into a few of those. In a dream I call Snakes in the Road, a simple path becomes something else entirely, lined with snakes, visible and invisible. And in a moment of lucidity, I realize it's not just about avoiding danger. It's about learning how to walk forward anyway. In Cooking Disaster, what begins as making a grilled cheese spirals into chaos. Ingredients spilling, drinks mixing, a stove that won't turn off. Until I'm left wondering if trying to control everything is what caused it in the first place. In Underlord Pizza, I find myself inside a mafia-like system where every word, every gesture, every offering has to be exactly right, because one wrong move and everything can turn. In Blob Sharks in the Steep Quarry, I go over the edge, literally, descending into deep water filled with shifting shark-like forms, and I'm faced with the question, are they dangerous? Or am I meant to reach out and touch them? And in Empty Headers, I meet someone with a transparent plate in his forehead, revealing part of his mind, just as I'm preparing for the same procedure, and I'm left wondering, what happens when what's inside is no longer hidden? These dreams don't all resolve, they don't all explain themselves, but they carry something. A tone, a question, a direction. And maybe you felt something like this too. A fragment of a dream that stayed with you. A moment that didn't fully make sense, but didn't need to. So I won't promise that these will all become full dream explorations here, but if one of them caught your attention, if something in it lingered, you might ask yourself, what's moving through my dreams right now? Because your own dream field has its own set of currents, its own symbols, its own unfolding story. And sometimes, just noticing them is where everything begins to change. And with that, we come back from the wider field into something much simpler. Because after all of that, the systems, the structures, the unknowns, there's a moment that arrives next that doesn't ask for understanding. Only presence. Let's step into that. I'm back in a high school setting. There are a few girls there, people I recognize, but not deeply, more like familiar faces. We're talking, casual, light, and at some point, we start speaking in Spanish. Just bits and pieces, simple phrases, but I can feel it. I'm not fully keeping up. There's a slight delay in me, a hesitation, and they notice. One of them looks at me and makes a comment. Not harsh, just aware. And I feel it. That moment of, I'm a step behind. Now let me ask you, do I try to keep up and prove myself, or lean into the moment honestly? I decide to respond. I say something in Spanish, an idiomatic phrase I learned in Costa Rica. It basically means, sorry, I'm a little slow. I offer it lightly, playfully, but they don't get it. There's a pause, and I realize they don't understand the phrase. So now I'm in this space where I tried to meet them in language, and it didn't quite land. Now let me ask you, do I explain myself, or shift into something else entirely? I could explain it, break it down, translate the meaning, but instead, I feel something else. Because underneath all of it, the language, the misunderstanding, the slight awkwardness, there's something simpler. I'm feeling slow, heavy, a little lethargic. So instead of explaining, I step closer, and I gently reach out and tap one of them on the chest, right at the heart. Then another, a soft, simple gesture, no words, just, I see you. I care about you. Heart to heart. And something shifts. Because now it's not about language anymore. It's not about being fast enough or sharp enough or saying the right thing. It's just connection. Direct. Felt. Now let me ask you. Do I go back to trying to get the words right? Or stay here in this simpler way of relating? I stay. No more explaining. No more translating. Just presence. Just heart. And in that moment, there's nothing missing. Nothing to catch up to. I'm already there. And that's where the dream settles. And maybe that's where it all begins to come together. Not in the complexity of the system or the structure of the dream, but in the simplicity of connection. Because after everything we've moved through, new worlds, shifting landscapes, different ways of sensing, layers of observation, what remains is something direct, something felt. And from that place, a final layer reveals itself. Not just the experience of the dream, but the recognition of the journey itself. I'm dreaming, and at the same time, I'm aware that I'm dreaming. But it's not just lucidity, not just that moment of, oh, this is a dream. It's something more structured than that. I'm inside a system, a framework I know, the dream journey stream, the 10 junctions. I'm not just thinking about them, I'm not studying them, I'm experiencing them from the inside. Now let me ask you, am I remembering the framework or moving through it in real time? It's happening. Each moment of the dream feels like it corresponds to a junction, like I'm reliving dreams, but not randomly. They're organizing themselves, clustering, aligning, each one connected to a specific point along the journey. Recall, recognition, lucidity, stability, not as ideas, but as lived states. All right, now let me ask you, do I step back and observe the system or continue moving through it? I stay inside it because there's something different here. I'm not outside the map, trying to understand it. I'm walking the map, and the map is responding. It's like the structure itself is alive. Each junction isn't just a category, it's a place. A state I can enter, a state I can feel. Now let me ask you, am I organizing my dreams, or are my dreams organizing me? There's a shift. because I realized this isn't something I'm applying to my dreams. This is something emerging from them. The framework isn't imposed. It's revealed, and I'm inside that revelation, moving through it, experiencing what it means to not just understand the journey, but to live it. And in that space, there's no separation anymore between the dream and the structure and the dreamer. It's all one movement, and I'm in it. And that's where the dream resolves. And as this episode comes to a close, there's a thread that runs through all of it. Not just what was seen, but how it was experienced. Because these dreams didn't stay at the level of concept. They moved, they shifted, they invited participation. And maybe that's the deeper current here, that dreaming isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you can step into, something you can feel your way through, something you can live inside of. And as you move through your own nights, your own symbols, your own unfolding, you might begin to notice, where are you observing? And where are you already inside it? Sleep well, and welcome whatever you're ready to receive.